Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
I'm Rudy.
I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
I'm Ray.
And this is where we talk about all things that happened in Star Wars this past week. And we waited till tonight to do a special edition of the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. And we're doing it live. We're doing it live, everyone. So get started. I wanted to talk about the Katee Sackhoff interview that she did. She went on Christian Harloff's podcast, and she gave a lot of interesting little details that we didn't know beforehand about her being cast and her costume fitting and the first day, the first Friday that Bo-Katan appeared, and a lot of stuff that I didn't think she was going to kind of talk about, but she did. Obviously, I think we're all kind of thinking that maybe she had to audition, but she didn't have to audition at all to play Bo-Katan, which, I mean, you kind of figure if you think about it, but every role, usually they need to cast, they need to hold all auditions. But in this situation, she did the voice in animation for Bo-Katan. And she tells a story that back when she was doing the original voice for Bo-Katan for Clone Wars, Dave Filoni approached her and said, "Hey, if everything goes right, you might play Bo-Katan in live action." And see, I had heard that story a long time ago, and I was like, wow, that would be pretty awesome. And I couldn't think of any other situations where that actually happened. And one character that I kind of remembered later on was Paul Bettany with Jarvis and Vision for Marvel. But I don't think is there another situation like that's happened or happened before Katee Sackhoff played Bo-Katan?
Where they went from animation to live action?
Well, they did the voice first, and then they went to live action, and they actually portrayed and acted as that same character.
Off the top of my head, I can't think of any. I don't know.
But I always thought that was going to be a cool thing to happen, and it did happen, and we did on the podcast talk about the fact that Katee Sackhoff was probably cast, and it actually came true, which I'm totally thrilled about. I love the way they're keeping it kind of in the family with her as an actress, and also bringing back Tamira Morrison. But Netflix actually let her out of shooting her other series that she's in called Another Life, and I thought that was pretty cool of Netflix to actually do that, because they're shooting in Vancouver. I think that's where she was living at the time. So Netflix kind of got, I think, a boost in their ratings for that show, because I think Katee Sackhoff is more well-known. She was already pretty well-known in the sci-fi community, being Starbuck and Battlestar Galactica, but it seems like them allowing her to do that, which is not a very common practice in Hollywood. And of course, Netflix is the main competitor to Disney Plus, even though the Disney Plus doesn't have as many subscribers. But I thought that was super cool. And I think Netflix is overall is a pretty super cool company. They've shelled out a ton of money to different creators to do different projects. And I think that's why they see the success that they've seen. Another thing about that interview that kind of jumped out was she watched everything over several times that Bo-Katan was in. Of course, she did the voice. She was familiar with it. Also, it was interesting to hear her talk about when she would do the voice for Bo-Katan. She was just doing the voice. She wasn't doing the acting. She wasn't doing the walk. She talks about how she had to figure out Bo-Katan's walk and kind of her presence on screen. And that's something I didn't think about. When she got the costume, when she got the armor, she was actually scanned. It was a full body scan. And usually when she does projects, she's usually cast and plaster. And she talked about it took seconds as opposed to just all the time it takes for the plaster to like harden on your skin, then peel off. And I think we've all kind of seen that whole process being done, where you basically have like two like nostrils and that's it. You can't breathe out of your mouth. And I for someone to be in that and to actually be like claustrophobic, I think it's like a hard thing and a hard ordeal to go through. I can't imagine going through that. I'm kind of claustrophobic, so it'd be horrible for me. So the costume was actually very like form-fitting, and of course she was scanned with the laser, and she talked about how her armor worked. She actually fell accidentally, and Peyton Reed ran to like her aid, and he was asking, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" And she was like, "The armor works." So he was all concerned, and she was just happy. I mean, her just kind of dream kind of came true, I think, being Bo-Katan, this whole situation. I've kind of been following kind of her career because I've been a fan of Christian Harloff, the interviewer, and he'd been friends with her for a while. She actually did a little bit of podcasting. Hopefully she comes on our podcast. But she talked about how she grew up a sci-fi person. Her dad introduced her, and her dad actually made it on set of Chapter 16. And I just can't imagine, I mean, how much joy and how much just kind of relief I think she had to actually finally play the character of Bo-Katan. She also talks about the day that first episode of Bo-Katan being released. I can't imagine going through something like that. I remember all the way back to 2015 where I thought about JJ as a director. I'd always want to be a director growing up, and to helm a project to bring back Star Wars in 2015, I was feeling a lot of emotions for JJ, because it's like, how being a fan, a huge fan of the biggest property, how does your body react to something like that? And I was nervous for him, in the theater. I was nervous. I was thinking, man, what if I just can't take it and I gotta just like leave the auditorium? Because I don't know, that's just me. And she talked about how she was full of adrenaline that day. She was physically cold, and she waited till the nighttime, I think, to watch the episode. But of course, she was basically Bo-Katan. I mean, she was the voice already. I think everyone kind of wanted her to play her in live action, and I think she knocked it out of the park. And what do you guys think about Katee Sackhoff's portrayal as Bo-Katan?
It felt pretty flawless to me. Like, I had at that point just finished catching up on all the Clone Wars episodes, and so it just seemed really seamless from the animated character to the live action character to me.
Rudy?
Yeah, it was pretty seamless. I think I was in the middle of rewatching Clone Wars when she came out, and then seeing her in Rebels, and then going back and watching the episode of her in live action. It just flows right. I think I was worried more about Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka, because I think a lot of fans wanted the voice actor to be cast as Ahsoka come into live action. But I mean, that's another topic for another day. But Katee Sackhoff as Bo-Katan was perfect.
So, Matt, we haven't heard a lot about your opinions on the Mandalorian, I don't think. So what did you think about all the castings of like Cobb Vanth and Bo-Katan and Ahsoka?
When it came to with the first release, like when they first told us about the Mandalorian, like was it like 3 years ago now? My thought was like not what most people were thinking. Most people were on the idea of how accurately or differently the Mandalorian would portray Imperial rule in Star Wars era. My first thought actually was casting, getting different characters that we may not know or may already know, obviously, and then be properly portrayed by the actors who they cast, obviously. But for me, when I heard, I am a longtime fan of Pascal, anyways. And I was really excited for that, but I didn't know yet that like we wouldn't see his face for the longest time, and he was just kind of like the body. And then like it was again to season 2, and I saw the cast list for as each episode came out, and I like we were talking about here with Katee Sackhoff, I was relieved to find that a lot of the time they came from in-house. They would cast members of the Star Wars community, whether they had been in previous productions or they're just extreme fans or they're people that admire and are fully committed to the world of Star Wars, just like the producers and the creators of the show. And I was also knew that I would be perfectly fine with the casting decisions of The Mandalorian, because I knew that Jon Favreau was a genius when it comes to these types of situations. And we've seen it time and time again, how he can enter a franchise at the middle or the beginning, like we see with the MCU, and he will mold it to his liking, and he will pre-plans so much, like years in advance. He was thinking about like stage 3 and 4 of MCU when Iron Man 2 was already out. So like he plans years ahead of time. So like I knew that whoever he had as the casting director and all of his production team would choose the right people to portray them. And when it comes to portrayals of characters, I think that the physical and the vocal appearances of the character is like number 2, according to, or next to that of character development and properly understanding the background of the character you're portraying and doing all the research and just personally like loving the character that you're playing, whether it be huge or small. I don't really care the size. You have to do it to the best of your ability. Speaking as an actor, I really admire the fact that a lot of the characters that came into this, A, are Star Wars fans, or B, have been in the Star Wars world for some time and already have a deep love and dedication to their role. So they already kind of know what's going on. And the fact that the actor that's behind the character is so involved, you can easily believe that this character is existing. It's a real person in a real universe that we get to admire and watch every week on our television screen, gathered by our family and friends, eating popcorn. But for me, every time I see a film, a commercial even, I always think about the production aspects of what went into creating what I'm seeing in my face, what I'm watching. And a lot of people don't think that way. So I guess I'm weird or unique in that aspect. I'm sure all of you might, from time to time, find yourself in this window where you're just looking at something, and instead of like looking at the plot and what's going on screen, you're thinking about everything that's not happening on screen, everything that happened before, or everything that went into creating this and who went into creating this. So I was extremely excited and relieved once I had seen season 1 and season 2 of The Mandalorian. I'm an extremely good fan. I'd give it like a solid 8.9. Like all around, like 8.9, maybe 9 almost. I really loved it. I think that there's a lot of potential still to come, even if one of the main characters that was the social icon that was moving the Mandalorian train forward, that being Grogu, we obviously know who we're talking about here, may not be as in the future of Mandalorian. I think it has a lot of potential. And I also love the fact that this is a completely different point of view of the Star Wars universe that we've known for decades. Everything we thought we knew. And then like we're only scratching the surface of what the universe or the galaxy that is Star Wars that we know. And every episode I learn more about how the galaxy works in this world of Star Wars. And I am extremely excited to learn more about what's going on in a galaxy far, far away. So,
yeah, same here. Yeah. Well said. Yeah. So the most interesting part of that interview was the fact that she said that when she was on set for chapter 16, and of course the X-Wing flies into frame, she knew there was an X-Wing there, but they did not tell her it was going to be Luke Skywalker showing up. She did not know Luke Skywalker was in the episode until she saw it at home. She had an idea, and she had kind of like, well, maybe that's the person that's going to show up. I mean, it's kind of obvious, but then she thought, well, maybe it's someone else. She had her doubts, just like the rest of us, but that's so like just kind of weird that she was never told. That's how big a secret Luke Skywalker was in chapter 16.
Did she not see the costume?
Like how did they film it if she didn't know?
I heard nobody on set knew Luke
Yeah,
Skywalker.
so
Yeah.
the way they did it was the actor walked in and had dots all over their face. Wasn't in costume, wasn't in wardrobe. They were just kind of acting to just a random person. But I guess maybe it was Max Lloyd Jones, the guy who was the body double, and they didn't know who he was, so they were like, okay.
R2D2 is there. Like,
well, the way they shot it, I don't think R2 was ever in frame with the other actors, right? So yeah. So everything they shot was separate. So
I mean, I just know, like, in our talking about what was going on, I would imagine it's similar for people who were, on set during the production. I mean, we speculated, right? Who could it possibly be? This Jedi who shows up, it was Ezra, Luke, maybe Mace Windu was a shot in the dark. Those were kind of our Cal Kestis was one, right? I mean, it wasn't like there was this huge catalog. So I feel like once you see like the X-Wing, I feel like it kind of narrows it down. I'm
if that didn't narrow it down, Mark Hamill showing up on set might have done it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Why is Mark Hamill here?
Well, it could have been a situation where he was there as like just maybe like a visitor, and they just never talked about the simple fact that he was going to be there, or it could have been he was there when none of the other actors were there, and it was like super top secret. It was just like Filoni, Favreau, the camera guy, Mark Hamill, Max Lloyd Jones, and that's it, and R2. So I mean, we really don't know who was there when Mark Hamill was there. So there's so many possibilities.
If it was kept really secret from the rest of the cast, then my guess is what they did is they just had a stand-in reading Luke's lines, and that's who the rest of the characters acted with. And then they probably had a skeleton crew enclosed set and filmed all of Luke's scenes. So he's in full costume and everything. So you get all those shots, but they're not all in costume in the same room together.
Yes, I think that's probably way more accurate, Ray, because he never says Luke Skywalker. I am Luke Skywalker. So yeah, there was probably a line reading there.
Man, that'd be Jedi. That'd be real sneaky. If I was like one of the main actors, and I was like, why don't I know? Why can't I know? I'm not gonna tell anybody.
I went to film school. My knowledge is coming in handy for this one moment.
But it's just weird because Mark Hamill's name is on the cast list for episode 16. Like his name is right here.
I think
but he might not have been on the call sheet.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, like if they make a movie and they like CGI'd my face on somebody else, like, and I had nothing to do with the movie, I'd still kind of want to be, my name somewhere. So I mean, that's kind of what I got out of it. Mark Hamill's name in the credits. So they used his likeness.
Yeah. So piggybacking on what you just said, Sam, I posted a video in our Facebook group how a company did a deep fake for Mark Hamill.
I saw that. I watched that.
Yeah, and it's super comprehensive, apparently, to do a deep fake. I know we all kind of joked about how a kid in his garage was doing deep fakes and putting them on YouTube. It's pretty complex, man. If you watch that video, I mean, they got to go through a whole lot of stuff to accomplish a deep fake. It's almost, it's a little off topic, but like mining for Bitcoin in a way. You have to wait for the computer to do its thing to map the human face with all the images and moving images to get a proper mask for another person to put it on another person's face.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought they probably did CGI for Luke Skywalker, and they didn't do like deep fake. So they probably created like a Luke Skywalker, like,
right,
essentially, and animated on top of it.
They just put a mask on it. It was him.
Yeah, it's all prosthetics.
Yeah, there's no computers here. They're all analog.
Yeah, I don't think they went to Spirit Halloween, but it was probably a little bit more complicated.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's it's super interesting. But I actually read that ILM has their own proprietary deep fake CGI technology that they use.
Yeah, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it was like a proper deep fake. It's their own like proprietary software that they use. So yeah, that in that video they did highlight how like the lips didn't move, the hair didn't move, and I think everyone's kind of talked about that. But that's like a big, and
the lighting wasn't right. It was like it wasn't
the lighting, right? The lighting, the fact that your eyes, when there's movement in your eyes when you're acting, your eyes lock, they just don't float. I thought that was super interesting. But going from casting Katee Sackhoff as a voice actor to a live action actor, the news, the kind of like the official news drop that Lars Mikkelsen is going to play Grand Admiral Thrawn, and it's unofficial right now, but I think it's looking more and more that we're going to get Lars Mikkelsen. So what do you guys think? What do you think, Rudy?
No, I think it's great. Lars was probably one of the. I mean, there was only two choices for that role, and it was Lars or Benedict, and Lars was probably the best one for it.
I like the idea of Lars much more than I do Benedict. Or even when someone said Robert Downey Jr., and I was just like, "Shut up, just stop, just stop." I saw one with Betty White, and I was like, okay, "That's funny." But RDJ, no. But I watched the BBC show Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch, and Lars Mikkelsen was a character on that show.
Season 2.
Like, yeah, after we met him in that show, I was following his career, and I was like, this guy is amazing, and he scares the living crap out of me. It's so cool, and he has this presence that's so demanding, but he's so calm and suave about it. So you can't not like the bad guy that he is, which is exactly the type of character that Admiral Thrawn is. He's one of my favorite Imperial officers. Obviously, no, he is. Tarkin's a solid second, maybe. But
I'm a Tarkin fan. OG, I guess.
Tarkin's he's spooky, but only because he looks dead on the face. He's just spooky that way.
His jaw, man, it's perfect. It's perfect.
And no, it's the cheekbones that does it for me. It's
Yeah, so I had to just look up who he was in Sherlock because I didn't know he was in Sherlock, and his character freaked me out.
Yeah, he's the one with the mental the mind palace.
Yeah. I'm
like,
he's
hey, if you haven't watched it yet,
creepy.
Watch Sherlock, BBC, Benedict Cumberbatch, and obviously Lars Mikkelsen now. That's me telling everybody. And
But
you guys.
that was season 4, right?
Was it season 4? I thought it was season 2. I thought
season 2 is still about Moriarty.
That's with Moriarty.
I didn't recognize him. I'd only seen the first 2 seasons, so as far as
that show's crazy though, because that show started maybe 10
at.
years ago, and there's 3.5 seasons that are and they release an episode every 3 months. It's ridiculous.
It snowed in Africa before the next season of Sherlock came out, so.
Yeah, but each episode for the seasons, they're only 3 episodes a season, an hour and a half a piece.
Yeah, they're basically small movies.
Yeah, you're just watching movies.
They're so
First
good.
season was fantastic. If you haven't
They
seen
are
that
so
show,
good.
We're so good at staying on topic.
We're talking about Lars Mikkelsen. It's fine. We're talking about his past works.
Hey, I could go on about Sherlock forever, so I don't mind.
This is true, but we'll save that for a Harry Potter podcast when we can just rant about Harry Potter.
Yeah, I think Lars is probably the perfect casting for that, and really kind of the only person. Obviously, he already knows the character. Yeah, he looks creepy. He could totally be paint in blue, and he's perfect, right?
We're gonna have to get him a hairpiece, though.
They can do that.
He's got his hairline's halfway back.
Yeah, definitely. Sherlock Stuff podcast coming soon. So
I'll buy a blue box and podcast in it.
So yeah, the next thing that I wanted to talk about, actually, you know what? I actually wanted to add a little bit to the Lars Mikkelsen thing. It seems like fans have universally accepted the fact that we're going to get Lars Mikkelsen, and they're kind of speaking it into existence. And I put out a poll on our Twitter page and at Stuff Pod, and it seemed like mostly everyone thought that Lars Mikkelsen was going to be cast right before kind of the unofficial news that he was going to be cast came out. And I think everyone does compare him to the Thanos level villain for the Mandalorian, but in the Mandalorian climactic event that's going to happen. But it seems like he's going to be more in the shadows, and we're going to get someone else. Who do you think is out there, or what is going to be the thing that's going to be the tank or the brute, the muscle?
Well, I think at some.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think at some point we're going to see Snoke, because Snoke's way cooler than they let him be in the sequels.
Small.
And so
we saw his body.
We did see him, right? And so because we have that, and we have the whole Grogu storyline, we're going to see Snoke come to power in some way. And so I think maybe, the thing is, you can't defeat Snoke.
They're just gonna take that baby Voldemort and just throw him in a cauldron, and then he'll just turn into Snoke.
Unless they do defeat Snoke, and then the Snoke we see in the sequels is Snoke 2. you know, he's a clone of Snoke.
Yeah, Snoke 2 is the one with the it's like a little pill and you throw it in water and it turns into a sponge dinosaur. That's
Isn't Snoke himself a clone of someone already? Like Moff Gideon did not die at the end of season 2. Like he's gonna get broken out of whatever jail they put him into, and he's he's end up being the muscle that they have to beat before they get to Thrawn. It's gonna be Giancarlo Esposito.
He's got to work on the saber skills, though.
But do you think Thrawn would be the ultimate guy?
Yeah, I mean, Thrawn's going to be the ultimate guy because they're going to do what Marvel did and do a big crossover event between Mandalorian, Rangers of the New Republic, and Ahsoka, and they're all going to come together to beat Thrawn.
All right. I mean, I'm not doubting it. It's cool. Thrawn's a cool character, but.
And the popular belief is that The Mandalorian is going to end with a film, not a TV series, not a last episode, but a film.
Yeah, we've talked about this for a few months now.
Well, I mean, it's
1, 2, and 3 in one film.
It's gaining momentum now, and
it's
it's being talked about a whole lot more now. And I think it was actually in a couple interviews that were done, kind of predicting that. But at this point, what do you guys think about that? I think it is appropriate. Because I think The Mandalorian deserves something like a grand, huge, kind of unprecedented finale. I think we've all wanted that for our previous favorite shows that we've seen in the past, and it never really happened. I know they showed like some Game of Thrones episodes in theaters, but I don't think we got anything quite like this. And of course, I mean, hopefully when this pandemic is all over and we go through 2 or 3 more seasons of The Mandalorian, theaters will all be open again, and we can all kind of like pile in a theater and watch it. And maybe like Disney needs, it's kind of weird to say, but maybe they need the financial help with their movies.
I still haven't been in a movie theater since last March, so.
I mean, I can probably see it as a Disney Plus movie.
Yeah, that's the way I kind of see them taking it, because I feel like it has to be a standalone film if it's going to be released as a film, like in the theaters, right? I feel like it has to, you know, attracts people who didn't watch the Mandalorian TV show. And so if they were to end in a film, it has to be like another adventure or something. That's kind of the way I see it. I don't think they would, you know, hedge all their bets on people having to watch, let's say, 4 or 5 seasons of Mandalorian before they can fully understand what's going on in the movie. I don't know. It's a thought. But yeah, if it's like a Disney Plus movie, then I think that'd be a great way to end the series.
Yeah, I think HBO kind of did the same thing with Deadwood. They ended the like 2nd or 3rd season of Deadwood, and then they came out with like a follow-up movie to kind of tell the remaining story, what happened afterwards. So we might get something like that. Maybe that would be kind of smart for Disney Plus to do. I just don't see it being in theaters. I don't know.
El Camino is kind of the same way with Breaking Bad, right? So I mean, that's very much like a sequel too, but. That's the way I would see them do a Mandalorian movie.
Yeah, and Kathleen Kennedy stated at that Disney Investor Day call a climactic event, a big event. It feels like it's going to be a movie. They're all going to converge all in one maybe big film.
I mean, if they do an Avengers Endgame film,
that
climax of everything, then it could be super epic.
Yeah, they would need the budget to give us something really huge and cinematic.
I'm sure they can fit the bill.
Well, I mean, we all say that, but it's like there's still a limit. You know, there's still a limit to how much they can spend. I mean, it's just they don't have limitless money. So and then they're going to bring in stars from who knows. I mean, Rangers of the New Republic might create huge stars. We don't know. They might bring in huge stars. So to pay everyone for one series or whatever. But of course, we've seen it in season 2 where they had like Timothy Olyphant and Tamir Morrison and Rosario Dawson in there. So, I mean, they pulled it off, but I think we're going to see something bigger than we've seen. And maybe what we've even kind of talked about. I don't know.
I hope so. I hope so. I want to. I want to see it.
So yeah, staying on topic with The Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal did an interview with IndieWire, and he talks about, he gives a little bit of hint about the future episodes of The Mandalorian and spinoffs. Not what we just talked about, something a little different. I'll read his quote here. Pedro Pascal told IndieWire, "I am told what's happening and what the plan is, but I can't share it, of course. They're in the expansion of this world. where there are so many unexpected surprises and timelines that are going to be dealt with. If the character were to cross over into these worlds, it will be utilized in a way that isn't meant to be expected. I wouldn't want to spoil the surprise of whether or not characters from the show we already know are crossing over. So I think the full expectation is that we're going to get Bo-Katan, Cara Dune, and Rangers of the New Republic. Ahsoka, we're probably going to get the Mandalorian, maybe Grogu. Grogu has to show up in these series. I mean, Grogu, I think we're all in agreement there that Grogu is pretty much what the general public, the non-sweaties, look forward to, other than us.
Non-sweaties.
Yeah, because we're all sweaty for Mandalorian. So it's what are your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, different timelines. I mean, what could they possibly show us that's just unexpected at this point?
Well, I think
The return of Jar Jar.
Jar Jar.
It's the Lord.
Let's go to Naboo.
Let's go to Naboo.
I think we're going to Naboo.
Next season, right? Yeah. Jar
We
Jar
might go to Naboo.
I think we're going to Naboo.
Too bad Sabe's on Tatooine, though.
There was
God.
There was some talk of the world between worlds in the Ahsoka series, so it could be possible that we see a bunch of crossovers that way.
Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt? Thoughts?
No, I don't. No thoughts here.
Ray?
Empty head.
No, yeah, you can't just take my card. No, find your own.
So my thoughts are, I think about Luke Skywalker, okay? So we got Luke Skywalker in his prime. How do they top that? How in the world do they top Luke Skywalker? They're going to have to top it. So I think season 3, when it comes out in 2022, they're going to have to do something like maybe go back into the original trilogy, show a different point of view of the events that we saw there. We all know and love there. Maybe some world between worlds action. Maybe if they can ingeniously weave that into the plot line, I'm all for that. It's essentially time travel for everyone that doesn't know world between worlds. But yeah, I mean, those are the only two things I can really think of. Flashbacks, having whole episodes as flashbacks for time periods that happened during the original trilogy, and we see just different points of view. I mean, that's all I can come up with. I mean,
They could open up the veil of the Force. They want to be super crazy.
Yeah, they can go all the way back to the beginning. In The Last Jedi, they showed the mural of the Prime Jedi, the very first Jedi. I mean, they've already touched on that.
If they go anywhere in the world between worlds, they'd go like back to like 2016 and then stop The Last Jedi. And then we'd go from there.
Where's James at? He disagreed with me.
Yeah, mixed
I know he would. Anyways, we talked about World Between Worlds like a month or two ago.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, thanks, Colin.
Yeah,
Colin.
did.
Thank you.
He's not here. We don't have to mention it.
Wavir? Colleen Wavir?
Oh God.
No, I think it's Colin Weber. So
who's this stupid guy?
Yeah. Sounds like a name. I don't know.
I rewatched that episode of Rebels where they went into the World Between Worlds like a couple weeks ago, and like I want to go watch it again because like I feel like I feel like there's potential for that to make an appearance. I mean, if I saw and making a live action appearance of the World Between Worlds, that's just trippy. But like I remember the very brief amount of time that we as an audience have seen the World Between Worlds. With Ahsoka and the way that Ezra saves Ahsoka. Ooh, sorry, spoiler. Anyways, and I like just remember like I was like so much potential to do so good and then make it so wrong because like there's so many different theories about time travel. Like if you even like touch that glass a different way, it'll change the face of reality. I don't know, and I don't know which version of time travel Star Wars world would adopt, or would they create their own, or were they going to go with the MCU's version because Jon Favreau, he'd be like, well, we could just steal my idea from a different project I was working on, and they could go down that route, but that would be stupid.
I mean, I feel like they can say they can hold like the timeline together with the Force. They could do something just generic like that, and that would solve all questions you would have if they had, like the Force.
That's
just
not as fun. That's just too easy.
I don't know. I'm throwing things out.
He'd be like,
because it would exist in the Star Wars universe. There's things that they could do that you can't.
He'd like throw pocket sand at Anakin in episode 2. I don't know. Pocket sand.
Well, hey, anything is possible. I mean, you had 9-year-old Anakin destroying stuff with a ship, and he's never flown before except for one pod race. And he only ever
he can go back in time and win that pod race,
exactly.
and
he finished
then
one
Anakin
pod
will get
race,
stuck on Tatooine.
and then suddenly he's flying in outer space, blowing up ships.
He's the chosen one.
I think they can hold the timelines together with the Force. I think.
Don't be hating on the Phantom Menace now. Come on.
Now I'm just thinking, like, what if he went back in time and then just had Anakin come in second in the pod race? Then Qui-Gon Jinn wouldn't have died. Then Anakin wouldn't have become the thing he is today. And they would have just been stuck on Tatooine, and then like Qui-Gon could have like made up with Anakin's wife and become stepdad or something, because there was something. Padme'd still be alive. And like,
Matt, you're joking about that, but I think that's on the table, man. I think that's on the table.
Just erase the chosen one. Be like, you're chosen.
Well, I don't think they would erase it. It would just be a different timeline.
Yeah, they're not going to go like back in line and kill baby Hitler kind of thing. No, it's not like that. They would just alter one thing, and it would keep him on Tatooine and full of sand.
Yeah. So sticking with the Mandalorian season 2, chapter 16. The very last
we're good
week.
at staying on topic.
Sorry, viewers. It's my fault.
So the very last week, the Nielsen streaming ratings have reported that chapter 16 was viewed 1.34 billion minutes of streaming time, which is the highest that any streaming show has recorded to date, according to the ratings. I think it's just based off of Netflix, Amazon, and another streaming service.
But we should do that. We should just get those views.
We should get.
That's just throwing it out there. You can go back to what you're doing. Yeah,
1.3 billion minutes of views.
I'm thinking big, boys. I'm thinking big.
So it's good that you're thinking, because I'm gonna ask a question here. What is the show that the Mandalorian knocked off of the top spot? What do you think, Rudy?
Game of Thrones.
Nope. Sam?
The Office.
Maybe. Ray?
If it's not The Office, I would go with Friends.
Matt, what are you thinking?
Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Ooh.
It was The Office. Sam is correct.
Damn.
I can't believe The Office gets that many viewers.
Dude,
it's just so good.
Like 3 times.
My mom has it constantly playing on our TV, like almost 24/7. So.
Well,
I'm not doing Peacock though. I bought the physical copy because
I have the physical copies too. I got it on DVD. So
all right, so moving off topic from the Mandalorian, we're gonna jump to Andor. So who's excited for Andor?
I was more excited, but now less. Just saying.
Okay, 3 out of 2. Okay, so K2SO Alan Tudyk is not going to reprise his role as K2SO in the first season of Andor. I know he has a Sci-Fi Channel series going on that's about to premiere where he like plays an alien, I think. And it was surprising that the Investor Day call, Kathleen Kennedy didn't list his name or say his name, even though he was physically on stage at D23 and made the whole like K2 Fast, K2 Furious joke on stage at D23. So people have been theorizing maybe it's due to the fact that they're shooting in England and he has COVID worries possibly and doesn't want to take his family to England because it's going to be a pretty long shoot. And if Andor is successful, there's going to be multiple seasons apparently. It's not going to be a limited series. But he did leave it open for him to show up in season 2. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Rudy?
Would he have to be on set though? Does he do the physical work for K2SO?
Yeah, he did the physical work in Rogue One.
Okay.
You wouldn't have to technically.
Yeah, they could get a replacement for him very easily.
They gotta get someone as tall as him because that dude was. What is it like? Wasn't he tall? I was like 6'4".
Probably, but
no, he was 7'1", actually.
Stilts.
With stilts, yeah.
Because you really just need his voice.
Yeah.
Which you could record at any studio.
Just get the guy who played Slender Man. He's got the same length limbs. He'll be fine.
Yeah, just hire literal Slender Man. Perfect.
Or that. The Mandalorian had 3 different actors playing Din Djarin. All they had was Pedro Pascal's voice. So technically, he could come back and reprise his role, even in season 1, which is someone just standing in and just his voice carrying over. If that happens, I think we might see him towards the end of season 1 of Andor, because this series is going to be something that we haven't seen in Star Wars at all, just by who the writer is. The writers, I think, one of the writers for the Jason Bourne series. So it's going to be a little darker, a lot more spy-ish, a lot more action. So it's going to be a lot different than what we're used to. But I seriously hope we see him in season 2, because he made Rogue One. That droid made Rogue One for me. I loved him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's like a very small chance that we don't see K2SO at some point in the Andor series. Maybe not season 1, but he's got to show up. They got to show how
he's in like my top 3 for like droids in Star Wars.
Yeah, K2SO is the greatest droid.
He's so funny.
He really is.
And I love that the voice of him it's Ali June, because like that guy, I love him. He's been in so many different projects, but like I think like the number one for me is like I just remember him every time I see his face in like the movie 42, where he played that really racist team manager. And like, he's just so good, and just his voice was able to add so much life to a character. I mean, obviously his body, but not like his body. And I
saw a lot of fans comment the fact that they were going to watch Andor was for K2SO. So I'm kind of hoping Lucasfilm Disney saw those comments and kind of maybe second guess, maybe. I mean, we don't know what the situation is.
We've learned that Disney and Lucasfilm, they're pretty smart. They understand that everybody loves K2SO. Like that was a fan favorite from Rogue One. So I mean, thinking of an Andor series without having K2SO probably wasn't even on the table.
I agree.
Yeah, you have to have them. You have to have them on the table. You have to have K2SO with Andor.
But maybe, like, from a storytelling perspective, they didn't think what they wanted to do, being a spy movie, they wanted to be like a one-man show or something, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's possible the direction they wanted to go with the show, it didn't make sense to have the droid. But I can't imagine we don't see him at some point.
Maybe leading up to liberating him from the Empire, because that's what he was. He was liberated from the Empire.
Right. Yeah, that's going to be a fantastic episode. If they do it, or like they ultimately capture him, it's going to be amazing.
So yeah, sticking with the topic of Andor, Riz Ahmed has said that he's not going to participate, and I don't think we kind of thought that he was going to show up anyways as Bodhi Rook, because I mean he was kind of introduced as an Imperial in Rogue One, and unless we follow him in the Empire, which would kind of be cool, but yeah, he said he knows nothing of Andor and hasn't been contacted. So Jyn Erso, though. The actress that played Jyn Erso, I'm trying to remember her name.
Felicity Jones?
Yes, Felicity Jones. She signed a contract for 3 movies, actually. I know that for a fact. And maybe she returns for the TV show. I haven't gotten anything concrete on that, but she does.
I'm on IMDb for Rogue One. Not Rogue One. Andor. The cat. And it's Andy Turdick is listed for 1 episode as K2SO in 2022. Yeah, you can't really like updated.
Yeah.
Why is it just 1 episode though? And most of them is just 1 episode. The only one that's 11 episodes is Diego Luna.
Weird. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't really trust IMDb.
Yeah, anyone can edit IMDb. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
So new animated shorts drop for the New Republic online for Avar Chris and Vanessa Rowe. How many people have read Light of the Jedi here?
I'm like now 14 chapters. So I'm making progress. I am
on my list of books.
Okay.
They drop these. I'm not a heavy reader, unfortunately. So
yeah, they drop these animated shorts. They're pretty good, actually. They kind of detail a little bit of what those two characters are. And Avar Kriss is one of the main characters, and Vernestra Rowe is a Padawan in the book. And they do a pretty good job with the animation.
I thought Vernestra Rowe is actually a Jedi Knight, the youngest Jedi Knight. She's like 15.
She was a Padawan of Stellan Gios, I believe.
Yeah, but in the book, Test of Courage, she had just went through her trials at 15.
Okay. Well, I know in the video it talks about her Padawan journey with Stellan. So it gives a little bit more backstory on her, and I think they did a pretty good job. I know there's a High Republic show that's airing on StarWars.com, I believe. Is that correct, Rudy?
Yeah.
I think they do like one episode every like 2-3 weeks or something. So yeah, if you want to stay on top of the High Republic, definitely check out our Patreon, where we're kind of detailing, we're going 4 chapters by 4 chapters and kind of deep diving as much as possible into
it's gonna be a long list of episodes. It's 44 chapters.
Well, I mean, we're not down to just 4 chapters. We can do maybe 8 or do like a whole like several chapters in a phase, because there's 3 phases in the book. And it's the first episode's up on Patreon now if you want to check it out. And I suggest you do.
What chapter did you guys just do?
We did 1 through 4
yesterday.
No, we did it last week. It was last Sunday. We posted it Sunday night, I believe. So it's up there on Patreon right now.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was me, Joseph, and Brooke.
So would it be better for me to read the book and then listen, or listen and then read the book, or do it both at the same time, like simultaneously?
Read the book and listen.
Yeah, it would be better if you read the book and then listen to us kind of talk about it, because we do go in depth, so you will be spoiled if you just jump in there. And unless you don't really want to read the book, you can get the kind of the deep dive of what you kind of missed out on. I know.
No, I already I have the book, physically have the copy ordered from Amazon 3 days ago, but I have 4 other books that are in line in front of that one that I got to read. I'm a slow reader.
Are we just going to do a Star Wars book club?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. It's like a virtual book club.
Because I got a whole list of books that are pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should talk about this in the group chat later. I've been meaning to read more anyways. I can have an excuse to read just Star Wars stuff. No, you're supposed to read Moby Dick. You're no, I'm gonna read this book about Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, everyone can go there at Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187 on Patreon, and you can hear us talk about The Light of the Jedi. And next up, I think we're going to do a Test of Courage from Justina Ireland, which I think Rudy has already finished. So.
Yeah.
And it's right behind you, actually. Behind your head.
It's one of them up there. There's the Archives, Light of the Jedi, and Test of Courage. I ordered a couple more today, so hopefully I should be getting those pretty soon.
Yeah, I actually ordered the first release of the comic book series. So issue 1 is on its way.
Nice.
So, yeah. Nice. Jumping from books to games, the Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga is going to feature 300 playable characters and 800 characters in total, which sounds pretty rad. I don't know what Matt's thinking, but
I love it. Because
yeah.
I remember playing the original Lego Star Wars and throughout just filling up the circles. I got this character, I got this one now, I got this one. But 300, I'm gonna have so much fun. And you're probably not gonna talk to me for a month.
But yeah,
I just got into my Wii, the Wii, the original Wii, and I am restarting the Mario Kart from beginning, and I'm having so much fun. It's 2 PM, Matt. Why are you playing Mario Kart by yourself in the living room? Leave me alone. That's what it's been like for me for the past week.
I have a friend who's really gunning for Connix to be one of those 300 characters.
Ah, yeah, Billy Lord. I know Babu Frick will be a playable character.
Yeah, and see, if he's a playable character, I don't see why Connix can't be.
I mean, at that rate, they're gonna have Max Rebo and stuff.
Give me give me a Cad Bane and call it a day.
I support that one. Yeah.
Yes.
I'd be curious if, because it's open world,
The rocket boots.
but
Yes.
I'd be curious to know if they choose characters that aren't in like the Skywalker saga. Like, you know what I mean? Like
can you play Cassian Andor?
Yeah,
Or
well, yeah,
K2SO?
yeah. I mean, Cad Bane
Well,
was kind of getting at.
I think from all the artwork I've seen from this, it says Lego Skywalker Saga. Like, I think this is all from, but I think it's all
Right.
like 9 films.
Right? Yeah, no, it is. But I'm saying, like, I'm curious with that many
Is
characters,
it including
they add like
Clone
a
Wars?
Cad Bane or Clone Wars exclusive characters.
Maybe.
So you think they pick characters just
Do they-
from
do
the
they
9
throw-
films?
Do they throw Grogu in there just because? I mean, you know,
Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. The only artwork I've seen for the game just says Skywalker Saga. So it could be just the 9 films. It could be all the series in between, from Clone Wars to Rebels to Resistance. It could be everything.
I
don't
think
know.
it sticks to just the 9 movies. Would be my
I
guess,
think so,
at least
too.
for the levels. I mean, there might be small Easter eggs here and there. You know,
Are they gonna like continue to add stuff onto it like they do with Battlefront 2?
DLC. Oh man,
Yeah, I'd be like, can I get a
Oh,
DLC
man.
of the Clone Wars, please? DLC with Rebels, AS
Possibly.
Blaze. I love that.
Possibly.
So yeah, I have a little thing I was going to read here. The action adventure game built with a new game engine will have level-based structure mixed with open-world exploration and will allow players to explore both planets and space battles across over 28 different locations. Features around 28 different locations. I already said that. 800 unique characters, and about 300 of them will be fully playable. Players will experience the story of the 9 films in whichever order they want, with the added ability to collect and complete multiple quests at a time. Finn's role in The Rise of Skywalker is getting a boost and quote-unquote chance to put things right.
interesting.
So, yeah, that is interesting.
Interesting.
So yeah, the Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is arriving sometime next spring, unless more delays happen. It will be available on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch. So no Wii, Matt. So sorry about that.
That means I'm out. That's all I got too.
This is super random.
That is cool that it'll be on the Switch. I do like that.
Yeah, I'm getting it on Switch, 100%.
Yeah,
I
I'm
gotta
getting
buy
on
a Switch
PS4, but
I think Just Dance 2020 was released on Nintendo Wii, which, if you guys want to think about something crazy, that's just there's a little tidbit.
I thought you were gonna say it was a reason on the Switch, and I was like, well, how do you?
No, it was released on the 2007 Nintendo Wii. That's wild. I mean, if you think about it, obviously the game doesn't require like any serious like.
Are you sure it's not? Is it on the Wii and the Wii U, or just the Wii U?
The original 2007 Wii. Look it up.
Huh.
Just Dance 2020. It's a freaking meme, man. Yeah, I mean, but like everybody has a Wii. Like, it's like one of the greatest selling consoles of all time. So it makes sense that they would release it. But I mean, whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa. That's all.
The Wii is
There's
definitely
nothing Star
underrated.
Wars related about that. I apologize.
That's fine. We do it. We were talking about Harry Potter a little bit ago, and Sherlock for way too long. Like a solid 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, you aren't kidding.
Yeah. Straight up. Maybe Just Dance 2021 will be released on Wii. Who knows? Only time will tell.
I haven't done.
It might even be out. I don't. Yeah, no, I haven't.
Like Black Eyed Peas were popular, man.
Yes.
I
All
got
right, back to Star Wars. I'm really excited. I was talking to Colin earlier on the phone. We were talking about this game. I'm hoping for. I don't know if you guys played Lego Marvel Superheroes, but they basically had like a New York City that you could run around with, like open world. Yeah. And I mean, if they had that with like Coruscant, you could like fly ships around and stuff and do Lego things.
I'd crash into so many things.
That's all I need. But I'm curious because it says 28 locations, and I'm curious for your thoughts on this. Do you think it's going to be like, 28 like open world areas, or do you think that's incorporated into the levels? What are you guys' thoughts?
I think it might be 28 open world areas, but that they're going to have to find a way to incorporate into the levels, kind of the way they did with Fallen Order. Because the Fallen Order, each level was in a different world, but it was still kind of open world-ish. Mm-hmm. So I think it might be similar to that, but bigger just because it's Legos and there's 300 playable characters.
It's not really how the Lego gameplay works, though. It's pretty like linear, I guess, every level because you have to, solve the next puzzle to get onto the next area.
Yeah, it's like a path you gotta follow. There's like a maze, and you gotta get to the end. That's the campaign. But open
if
world.
if they're making it open world, doesn't that go outside of that linear path?
Well,
yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right, but we don't know. We don't know how. We've never experienced Lego open world.
Because,
like
I mean, how Lego Marvel Superheroes works is it's an open world New York City, and then in that there's like different places where you can like teleport to like a level. If that makes sense, right? And then you like return to the hub overworld, right? That's how the game works. I haven't played like Lego City. I don't know if anybody has.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. But that's like, it's totally Lego GTA is what it is. But I mean, that's another like open world Lego game. And that
Lego GTA? Oh my God.
It's basically what it is. Look it up. But I don't know. And I feel dumb for not knowing, but I don't know if there's like levels in that game. I've never played it, but I know that's
in GTA.
It's basically Lego GTA, like Lego Cities or whatever it's called. That game.
Okay.
Interesting.
There is a Lego City. I shelve it a lot at the library.
Interesting.
Yeah, I remember like a whole toy line based off of Lego City, and I know they made like a small TV show out of it. But and I mean, obviously it would make sense.
Now we're going way off of Star Wars, but like Lego City was like one of the first like sets that Lego came out with. I think that was like the first like you made like cities of Legos.
Yeah, I remember like seeing like a commercial like this guy fell in the river, and I was like, how many times is this guy gonna fall in the river?
Anyways,
it's a boat, next time it's a helicopter.
Star Wars, guys. All right.
We're great at staying on topic. That's the new tagline.
My fault. I apologize.
So it's all good. So staying on the topic of gaming, though, so there are rumors out there that a Force Unleashed game is being developed. We don't know if it's something brand new or if it's just going to be like a redo for next gen consoles. So did everyone play Force Unleashed? Does everyone have kind of an experience with that game? No?
Yeah, unfortunately, no. I did not get to play Force Unleashed, no.
Okay.
Did you? So, I played. My dad like had it, and he played it on PC. And like every once in a while, I'd like, so I played a couple of the like a little bit of the campaign. So like I know like the basic like plot of that, and like the idea of like that game coming into canon like today, so cool. Like because that character is such a BA. Pardon my abbreviation language, but whoa.
So yeah, Sam Witwer played the main character. He was Starkiller. So he was Darth Vader's secret apprentice in canon at the time. It's no longer canon, but I know John Boyega mentioned it several times at Celebration when they did the Force Awakens panel, and he brought that up. Yeah, I guess it is a pretty old game, huh? Because I remember playing it. I remember there's a sequel to it, but yeah, Sam Witwer was the actual character model. His face was there, so he's been in Star Wars stuff before he did the voice of Maul. But yeah, I think it could be interesting. I've actually never played one of the most popular video games of all time in God of War, but I think it was essentially like that, but Star Wars. And like all the Force stuff has been like way over exaggerated. That's why it's called Force Unleashed. But yeah, it's
like what's that? Yeah, it's kind of like it's like that game and Resident Evil, and like a little bit of both. Because like I remember playing Resident Evil on PC too at the same time that those two came out. The original PC game, I think it was like 2002.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's a lot like the Lego games where it's kind of linear. It's not open world really, and then you get to points where when you hit bosses, it tells you what buttons to hit. So you have to hit them in sequence in time to defeat whatever you're fighting. And of course, you have lightsabers. But yeah, it was a pretty big hit back in its day. Also, another older game that you guys may not remember. I actually bought it on Xbox back in the early 2000s. Republic Commando is actually rumored to have a game coming out. And I know there was novels for Republic Commando. I think those were fairly successful. But they're like a different type of clone armor. It's like bigger clones in armor. Or maybe the armor was just bigger. I don't know. But yeah,
that
game
like
was
Halo Spartans. Like
kind of like a mixture like Halo and Gears of War type.
Yeah, Gears of War definitely like way like more armor than they needed.
right
like level.
It was almost comical, yeah.
Juggernaut kind of clone.
Yeah.
And I've seen like Gregor. There's like the main squad of commandos, and I've seen like there's like tons of like fan films out there. We should definitely like link a couple of those because those are awesome.
Yeah. So there is also a rumor of a High Republic VR game being worked on as well. So that would be pretty cool if they brought in High Republic stuff. I think they if they don't do that, I mean, I think they need to do a TV show or a film, because they went through all the work and all the effort creating this whole new space of Star Wars. And I know Rudy can attest to this. I mean, it's an expansive time, many worlds, many different characters, and just to leave them on the page. And a lot of people don't pick up books. A lot of people don't read the novels. And I think it would be a real waste if they don't move those characters and battles and just that time period into other media.
It's actually pretty fascinating, because if you compare it to, like, you know, America moving west and conquering the West, you know, back in the 1800s, that's what these books are. I mean, the Republic is basically venturing out to the Outer Rim and trying to conquer the Outer Rim and make a presence out there, but it's lawless. So it's actually a really cool concept and a really cool time for the Jedi, because you have thousands of Jedi in this time period. So there's just, you know, there's possibilities for multiple arcs and multiple stories to take place. And yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see how far they take it. Are they going to do TV shows? Are they going to do a movie? Just by some of the characters they've introduced, Avar Kriss, Loden Greatstorm. Those are some key characters in these stories, and I think we're going to see them somewhere. It's a matter of how we're going to see them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, news came, I think either Saturday or Sunday, that a High Republic game is being developed, and that's, or not High Republic, Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic. That game is being developed, and we all know BioWare famously developed that game, and it was a huge hit. One of the greatest games, I think, of all time, and one of the biggest twists in gaming of all time. But apparently BioWare is not going to develop. It looks like another game publisher is going to put their hands on Knights of the Old Republic as a game. So that's going to be interesting to see. And it's interesting to see Lucas Games kind of just expand out for different publishers. It's something they probably should have done a while back, and I guess they didn't have that George Lucas foresight, just giving the license to EA and having them just do Battlefront. But now it looks like we're going to get a whole kind of universe of different games, because I think in the past several years we've only gotten just a handful of games, and it's been a very kind of dry period for Star Wars games compared to other periods in time. So I think that's pretty exciting. So last episode we asked our listeners to come up with costume ideas for Rudy.
Oh God, here we go.
So right. I think Rudy did say I think Rudy did say he came up with something, but there was one particular listener that came up with some interesting suggestions for Rudy to to have his first costume. I'm not sure if these are all 501st approvable, but
oh my God, I can only imagine. Go ahead, put them up. Put them up.
So yeah, I'm not gonna put it on screen. I'll just say them.
I love that he didn't put this part in the podcast notes for today. He's like,
no, he did not. No, he did not.
Yeah, I don't know what's coming. So I'm
yeah, like I'm a little worried here. Is this for our fans only page, or is this going to be like?
No,
whoa, we have one of those. What? Why don't I know these things?
Well, you need to be on the podcast more, man.
I need to be like in a Leia costume now.
Well, see, that's the costume a listener chose for you, Matt. We're talking about Rudy right now. So Rudy, a listener by the name of Will Larson, he chimed in and he said, it would be cool to see Rudy dressed as Bib Fortuna, possibly.
Okay.
I don't know. Is that one that you've considered?
I don't know that I've ever seen a Bib Fortuna.
Right, exactly. I've never seen a Bib Fortuna out in the wild either, so that'd be interesting.
I'm trying to remember what a Bib Fortuna looks like, to be honest with you.
It's the tentacle guy in Jabba's palace.
Yeah, he's the Twi'lek or Twi'lek, however you want to say. Yeah, he's the one that says Dawana Wanga. Yeah,
is the fat guy at the end of Mandalorian?
But before he was fat.
Which
so I don't know if he's specifying Bib Fortuna in the Mandalorian or Return of the Jedi. So that's interesting though, because the next option
that would be a lot of makeup, and a lot of.
What do you think? I mean, just the Leku, the headpiece with the head tails, and then a robe, and then like fingernails, and maybe red eyes.
Isn't his skin a little yellow?
Yeah, I don't know what they are.
And he is
getting so sweaty underneath that.
Yellow feels right. They're definitely like a weird color, but I can't picture it right now.
Yeah, I can't picture it right now either. So yeah, the next costume suggested was kind of similar to Bib Fortuna in that you could either be slender or a little bigger. Gamorrean guard.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah, you could just paint your skin green and go as a Mandalorian Gamorrean, have like a vibro axe.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
That'd be pretty dope. That's probably beating out Bib Fortuna right now, to be honest with you.
So another interesting, I think this one might work better than I think everyone's going to think on the surface, but Dengar.
Dengar.
From the bounty hunter. And we've kind of joked about the fact that Simon
looking
yeah, exactly. So we joked about the fact that Simon Pegg wants to play Dengar. So I don't know, just maybe the beard would be covered, so you wouldn't have to shave. So your face would be kind of covered, maybe.
That could work, actually.
So yeah, you're wearing all like white, like strips of cloth, and just holding like a huge like rifle.
It's kind of a cool costume, honestly.
He could do. I think he could do Baze Malbus from Rogue One.
Yeah, grow out the hair.
Yeah, he's the guy with the big chain
on his back. Yeah.
It's got kind of facial structure for it too. You wouldn't have to lose the facial hair. You can keep the beard. It's fine. Maybe
as long as I can keep the beard.
Everything but the mustache. Shave everything but the mustache. You can be a pilot, rebel pilot.
I could. I don't know.
It's an option. Throwing that out there.
Is there facial hair requirements for a rebel pilot?
No, there isn't. But like a bunch of them have mustaches, and that was a big thing for Rogue One. A lot of the guys grew mustaches. 70s.
Biggs Darklighter. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
you can pull that off.
So is this up for my choice, or am I going to have no choice in this option?
I think he says explicitly no choice. He has to do this.
Okay.
Who said this? What?
But one of our listeners, Will Larson.
But do I have can I choose which character, or is that out of my hands as well?
It's all out of your hands. We're choosing right now for you.
Okay,
so
cool.
The last one is IG-88. I don't know how you're gonna pull that off, but I've seen General Grievous cosplays.
That's freaking awesome.
You stand inside the
Grievous. But you have to be like a puppeteer.
There's a guy who does K2SO as a costume, and he does it as a puppet who stands in front of him, and he has like arms and stuff, and then he wears like an Imperial officer costume, but it's a puppet, and he stands in front. So you could do that with IG-88.
I know somebody who has oh shoot, I'm totally blanking. What was the character? Grievous. I know somebody who does Grievous.
Awesome.
Really?
I've seen some really good ones, and I've seen some pretty bad ones.
Does he hide in the cape?
Yeah.
And most of them, yeah, pretty much all of them do. I saw one really bad one where he just plastered all the parts on top of his regular body, and I was like, your knee doesn't bend the right way, though.
Yeah, no, this one's really good.
Shoot.
I think he's on the other side of the state. He's in our base.
Huh.
If it's any better than that giant Mike Wazowski they got running around at some of those. I knew she would exactly know what I'm talking about. That thing's creepy, and it just looks like a rug draped over a bunch of PVC pipes.
It looks like Mike Wazowski and Sully roam around some cons together. Jesus. Sully looks like he's been run over by a semi-truck, and Mike Wazowski looks like you boiled him for 2 days.
Jesus.
Oh no.
A boiled tennis ball.
He's all shriveled.
This show got really dark really fast.
I have pictures. I can send you pictures.
Oh my God.
You need to send like an explicit 18 plus advisory before you send those across, okay? Parental advisory recommended. Okay.
Hey,
Sure.
they also have Randall and Boo, which Randall is surprisingly less scary. But the
I don't
bar
think
is
I've ever seen
low.
Randall or Boo at any of the cons.
Saw
but-
once.
I don't know if I would want to. Okay. Cool.
So what I just thought of, maybe Rudy could wear like a green screen or blue screen onesie and be connected on the back and look like he practically operated him on set, kind of like C-3PO style on the Phantom Menace. But of course, there's C-3PO. You could do that too.
That's
You could
actually
be
really
really skinny for C-3PO.
You could con Blue Jeans Guy. That'd be really easy.
Or
That'd be
Pink Shorts
super-
guy.
Pink
Yeah.
Shorts Guy is.
You gotta hold like the boom mic and just have your arm, practice your arms
Yeah,
just up
and
all
the shorts, they have to be shorter than you think they have to be. So then you'll know.
you could do Jar Jar, but as he looked on set. So
where
you
the
could do
visor.
literally that costume. That could be you.
I love those pictures so much.
God.
Well, there's gotta be a really funny person motion capture, and you can do the actual motion capture suit with all the dots and stuff.
I mean,
has,
worst case,
Where the heck is he gonna get a Jar Jar head? That'd be. I want to be in that part of the
there's
research
got to be
process.
someone who makes it.
Like a
Paper
cast, can I
mache.
get a cast of Jar Jar Binks, please? What?
I mean,
No.
worst case, you can do that. You can be the rebel who runs with the ice cream maker.
Yeah,
There are
Will
so many
Smith.
of those at Star Wars cons. I see
Yeah.
I saw a video of one that was maybe 50 of them just in a train going through the con.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I was like, oh my god,
You can
it's
get the-
so
you can
easy.
You can get the ice cream maker for $40 on Amazon. So if you got a
You could have an ice cream maker for when you're not
make the
conning.
jumpsuit, get a black wig and mustache, and you're there. That's all you
Make
need.
some salted caramel ice cream when you go home. Have a good time. Open a bottle of wine.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, all those suggestions came from Will Larson, who listens to us, and so big shout out to Will there. And we have an honorable mention from a listener and contributor, David Lozano. He proposed a boar gullet. So
David, what? So can I put my name into the bucket for consideration?
go ahead.
All right, you already told you what character, so
Okay.
it was the base
Apparently my choice is
Oh, that's
my choice is
We're gonna-
out. So you tell me. It's all good.
Wait,
So,
who's
yeah,
deciding this?
The
Are we-
listeners, of course. So, yeah,
I
if-
think the
if you
four of
want
us were gonna vote. I was like, all right, let's go.
I think we're gonna
make it
leave.
an open.
Yeah, we're gonna leave
we
it
should make
open.
an open poll.
Yeah.
Make an
So
open poll.
yeah,
Let's get a,
yeah, definitely. We'll do a poll on Twitter.
Put the poll on
And,
Twitter
yeah,
and let the
definitely. If
viewers-
you want to let us know what you want to see Rudy cosplay as,
have a Twitter.
email us at StarWarsStuffPodcast@gmail.com. And everyone can find us on Twitter except for Matt at StuffPod. We're also on TikTok. We're on Patreon. And I'm getting there, Sam. We're on Instagram.
Work it.
And you can also find, not us, but you can find the High Republic on audibletrial.com/stuff podcast as well.
Use that.
So,
You could
get a
listen
free-
to you
you
can
get a
listen to the
free
High
book.
Republic.
and you support us, so it's a win-win.
Wait, is the
Yeah.
High Republic on Audible?
Yes.
yes,
Okay,
it is.
yeah. You could be on track and you could watch another whole podcast where we talk about books, like a book club. I
Yeah.
think if I hadn't already used the free trial, I would use the free trial on that.
Yeah, and you can definitely find us on Patreon talking about that there. And of course, review us, give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Everyone's been doing such a great job, all of our listeners. We have a ton of reviews and they're all pretty good. And I looked at reviews for other podcasts out there, and I think we have the best listeners, guys.
We have the highest
don't have-
satisfaction rate.
Yeah, I think that's actually 100% true. And I mean, when we first started the podcast, that was one of the things I was worried about, was getting a bunch of just fans that are just super disgruntled about Star Wars. But everyone's been pretty cool, and we're pretty highly rated. So thank you so much, everyone out there that listens to us, and of course our Patreons that help support the show. And yeah, watch us on YouTube. Definitely, a lot of you are right now. And yeah, subscribe and like. And if anyone doesn't have anything else to share, Rudy, Ray,
No, that new book is releasing on the 26th. That is going to be. Let me see if I can find it again. Hold on, I lost it. Skywalker: A Family at War by Kristen Baber, with artwork from Matt Ferguson, who was commissioned to do the 40th anniversary for Empire. So this one, she is actually collecting all of the information from the movies, shows, comic books, everything in canon about each of the Skywalker characters. So you'll probably see a little brief chapter on Anakin's mother. You'll see Anakin, Luke, Leia, Kylo Ren. You'll see Rey's in there, I believe, as well. And it's just a deep dive into those characters. And it's like I went on Amazon and pre-ordered mine, and it has snapshots of the chapters, and it's almost like a biography. Like they're talking about the characters as if they've been interviewed. So it's kind of weird how they wrote it, but it looks really interesting.
That'll be a nice reference point in research for future podcasts too.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
sounds like another Patreon podcast, eh?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Add it to the book list.
yep.
It's getting bigger every day, apparently.
So yeah, I think that is everything, guys. For Rudy, Sam, Matt, and Ray, I'm David, and may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.
This is the way.
Always.